Good day, and thank you for joining the webinar. My name is Zachary Misko, the Global Executive Director of the HRO Today Services and Technology Association. And welcome to today's webinar entitled Strategies for Recognizing and Engaging Your Workforce. Really pleased to have both Mike Levy, CEO of Online Rewards, with us today, and a good friend and guru in the recognition space, Dr. Bob Nelson, author and president of Nelson Motivation. Dr. Bob Nelson will show how these elements that you saw when you signed up for the webinar, vision, recognition, communication, initiative, autonomy, and development, can be brought to bear through specific techniques and applications, and drawing on many of the research, doctoral work, and work with hundreds of organizations on this topic. Bob speaks all over the world. And as you know, those listening live today will have an opportunity to receive a copy of Dr. Bob Nelson's book, Recognizing and Engaging Employees for Dummies, courtesy of our sponsor, Online Rewards. Today's webinar has been approved for one HRCI recertification credit, and the information that you need for that will be available at the end of the webinar. So as I said, I'm very excited to have Dr. Bob Nelson and Michael Levy back with us today. And before we get started, let me just do a few housekeeping comments about the webinar as well as our association. For those not familiar with the association, we are a global HR association with providers, practitioners, and analysts who engage across the globe in each of our three regions, North America, APAC, and EMEA, through our forum events, our research, our magazines, HRO Today and HRO Today Global, and this, our association, where we provide our members an opportunity to learn, network, and advance through opportunities like this Thought Leadership Council that you're listening to today, as well as several different committees that we set the standards and practices within HR to ensure that HR can be more successful in their job. Membership and benefits, as I said, there are a lot of opportunities for networking and advancing industry as well. We've got a lot of great content, nice website. We host the 4 Thought Leadership Councils monthly. We have 3 committees that meet monthly. Our events are held throughout the year. We have both member networking events as well as our HRO Today forums. We actually host the CHRO of the Year Award as well as the HRO Today Services and Technology Association Award, and have great research that we make available to all of our members. Our website, www.hrotoday.com/association, can provide more information. This is a Thought Leadership Council, and today's Thought Leadership Council is focused on talent management. We also host a monthly TLC, as we call them, on talent acquisition, employee relations and services, and outsourcing. Our next event coming up is in September, the 27th and 28th in APAC. This year our event is in Hong Kong, and just after that we'll have our EMEA forum, which will be held this year in Dublin. Really pleased that recognition is today's topic, because recognition is really important. And we have many members who engage with us because recognition is important, and many of our provider members who are recognition companies. And while many of the recognition companies, we also engage with corporate organizations across the globe. Some of our members are listed here. We are also launching the Baker's Dozen on recognition within the next month. So this is a timely topic, and I know many people are anticipating the annual release of this year's Baker's Dozen for recognition. If you do have more questions about anything that I talked about, please contact me. My email is listed on the screen, ZacharyMisko@sharedexpertise.com. Also connect with me on LinkedIn. Happy to tell you more about all the great things that we're doing to help support, drive, and engage the HR association and industry. A special thanks to our sponsor, as I said, Online Rewards, which helped to make this webinar possible today. And thanks to Online Rewards, all live attendees will receive a copy of Dr. Nelson's book, Recognizing and Engaging Employees for Dummies. So here today is Michael Levy, CEO of Online Rewards. And Mike, let me turn it over to you, and maybe you can tell us a little bit more about Online Rewards, if you feel it's appropriate, but more importantly, why this topic is resonating so well with the things that you're working on and seeing today. And as you're doing that, Dr. Bob, I'll turn controls over to you. Thank you again, both, and have a great webinar.
Thanks, Zach. Appreciate that introduction. Thanks, everybody, for taking time out in their busy schedules. Hoping all is having a fantastic Tuesday. I won't keep you but more for a minute. And while I certainly would happily wax lyrical for hours about how fantastic online rewards is, I will refrain from that. I think I want to just express that, one, we've got Bob Nelson talking today, who has really been, not just the term guru lightly, but somebody who's been way ahead of his time in terms of recognizing and appreciating the importance and value of recognition as a strategic tool to drive business outcomes. And while Bob has not only sold millions of books, he has been talking on this and beating the drums for potentially 2 decades on a simple point that is as follows. People don't just work for pay. People work because they want to give the best that they can, and they want to do that obviously for fair and reasonable and good pay, and they want to be incentivized. But if we all remember back to our days of university and that gentleman Maslow and that hierarchical pyramid, well, once you've sort of got shelter and once you're feeding yourself, the next thing you start to look for is things that reach to self-actualization, or in a less technical term, things that appeal to our self-esteem. And recognition has now been recognized by corporate America as sort of the next frontier and tool, which is how do we appeal to the human beings who work for our organization? They are not all just about pay, and it's very short-sighted, those organizations who still think they have to do a 3% to 5% increase in year-over-year pay to attract and retain employees. Why? That's the most expensive way you could possibly spend corporate dollars, and the data shows that that doesn't actually retain your employees, but culture does, and recognition is a key driver for creating a positive culture. And we have the expert, and when I say the expert, somebody who for over 20 years not only has been writing books, but has been teaching organizations how do you create positive cultures. Online Rewards builds the programs that companies want in terms of managing and maintaining them, and that's our interest, and that's why we're happy to sponsor today's webinar. And with that, I'll pass it to Bob, Zach, and HRO. Thanks for facilitating these. I hope you all enjoy and get benefit from this.
Michael, thank you so much. Zachary, thank you so much. Two of my favorite people, and I almost want to just keep hearing you talk because you're right on it. I believe that any organization should pay people as best they can, but regardless of what you pay people at any level in the organization, you got to be even better at catching them doing things right and treating them superbly when they perform. In addition to recognizing engaging employees for dummies, my latest book, I've here a few of my other books I've done, and for anyone that already has my latest book, I'd be willing to send you any of my other books that you can choose from these, or go to my website and see others. 1,501 Ways to Reward Employees. I found out yesterday is going into its 63rd printing, so that's kind of fun. 1,001 Rewards and Recognition Field Book is how to create a culture of recognition. Management Bible, 1,001 Ways to Engage Employees or Energize Employees, which is all focused on the work itself and how to make that more rewarding, things that you can do that don't cost anything. And the 365 Ways to Manage Better just came out in a new printing last week. So these are some of the tools that hopefully are in your corporate library or in your library that can be help you on this topic. Kind of following up on what Michael was saying, one of my favorite quotes from Bill Hewlett, co-founder at Hewlett-Packard: men and women want to do a good job, a creative job, and if they provide the proper environment, they will do so. I love this quote because just in one sense it says where we've been, where we've come from, where we are today, that you can't force performance from anyone. It's always going to be their choice. Individuals control how hard they work on any given task, any given day, when they stop working, how long they keep working with you and go somewhere else. So you can't force the performance. You can't force work from people, but you can. Every manager can impact the environment, and if you take up the reins and feel the ownership of being in charge of the motivational environment of the people that you manage, I think that's the starting point for this topic for any given manager. And if you get enough managers doing that, you get a critical mass and you become a culture of recognition. And when that happens, magical things happen for your organization that we'll hit upon in terms of the ability to retain employees, to get a better performance, to have people be more creative, to go above and beyond on a daily basis. So basically, we're going to try to fill in what this looks like to create this type of environment. Today's employees report they're working harder, but they tend to feel less valued. 74% of employees report being less productive today than in the past, and their coworkers they feel are less productive. 67% of companies report engagement is down, currently at an all-time low, since the whole concept has been on the forefront, starting with the Gallup organization some 20 years ago. So as important as that has been, where the harder we work at it, it seems like we're losing ground, which is kind of an interesting thing, that something's amiss if its engagement is more and more important, yet we have less of it going on. 85% of employees today feel overworked and underappreciated. 56% say they're somewhat or completely dissatisfied with their job. And if you get dissatisfied enough, time to start looking around for something else. 54% say they plan to find a new job as the economy further improves. And wouldn't it be nice if the people that left were the deadbeats that you want to get rid of anyway? Not so lucky. According to the Harvard Business Review, this includes 25% of your top performers in the last year or so, and 76% of your younger employees. The whole new workforce, the millennials, which this topic especially is relevant for. 76% that are in jobs now say they plan to find a new job in coming years, if not sooner. And for this topic, it's kind of interesting because recognition is one of the top elements that's critical to millennials, that they actually expect to be recognized on a daily basis, which is kind of a mind-numbing thing to a lot of baby boomers, that they have a hard time understanding and getting their arms around that concept, that on a daily basis they want to feel included, recognized, thanked, praised, and the paycheck itself is not going to be relevant for them. 88% of which say that money isn't the most important thing in their job today. Take it one step further with some research from Kelly Workforce Index. And actually, Zachary might have been part of this. When he was working with Kelly Workforce, that prior to his current position, they asked, "Are you currently less loyal to your employer?" And if so, why? Well, overwhelmingly, it's no surprise that people said that their loyalty to their organization is way down, non-existent. Why they said that was the case, I thought was kind of interesting. What would you guess would be the top reason? Would it surprise you to find out that poor management was the number one reason why people said they were less loyal to their organization today? So the manager represents the organization in the eyes and the mind of the employee. Who you work for is the gateway to the rest of the organization. And if you feel that person isn't on your side, isn't looking out for you, isn't helping you grow, succeed, isn't thanking you when you do a good job, isn't supportive, then you feel you've got a poor manager and, again, a weak link to the organization. 52% said low company morale, which is kind of contagious. That when people around you are drowsing and bitter or disillusioned, then it's easy to fall in with that frame of mind. 49% said decrease in company pay, which, again, money is a piece of the motivation equation, just not the end all. Poor communication ranks as a high variable why people are less loyal today. decreased training and development, and decrease in benefit coverage, which good luck with that. It's pretty much shifting for everyone, to more of an individual focus. So of these reasons specifically why people feel less loyal to their employer, a couple of them relate to the finances, what you're paid, cost of benefits, but most of these reasons have nothing to do with money. And I always find this just fascinating and delightful, to be honest, because people don't just work for money. Money is important. We've got to pay our bills, but other things are as important, if not more important, in how you feel about your job, how you feel about and how excited you are about it, and how hard you want to hit it. So most of these reasons are things that don't require any money, that do require a little focus, that do require a behavioral focus, that you actually have to do something different. But if you can find a way to make that happen, good things will result for the management, for the workload of the organization, for every employee in it. So the need for engaged employees has drastically increased, even though we've lost ground in people feeling less engaged today. Employee engagement is simply stated a workplace strategy that combines three different things: mutual commitment, aligning the organization and employees' purpose and values. Okay, so it's not just what is important to the organization, but it's taking into account what employees' aspirations are and integrating that into the focus. Increased performance, it all has to start with doing a better job to help the organization be more successful, unlocking employee potential to drive desired results and performance for the organization and actually for the employee as well. Again, it's a joint journey. Tapping into the discretionary effort, inspiring employee efforts to be creative and going above and beyond, not once every blue moon, but on a daily basis, and being excited about doing that and wanting to do it again tomorrow. Highly engaged employees are been found, according to Gallup, to be 480% more committed to helping their company succeed, 250% more likely to recommend improvements, 370% more likely to recommend their company as an employer. These are some pretty amazing results that come from this intangible focus on getting people more engaged. Take it a step further, the importance of employee engagement has been shown, again by Gallup, to engaged employees are 18% more productive, 12% more profitable, 27% less prone to absenteeism, 62% less likely to be involved in job accidents, 51% less likely to leave their jobs. And increasing the whole retention focus is becoming a more important aspect of why companies need to strategically take this topic seriously. And wouldn't you know, it does have a direct tie to the bottom line. So it's not just the blue smoke and mirrors type thing, but again, from the Gallup organization, as they look at organizations across the spectrum, those that are the top quartile of being considered most engaged have 19% average higher profitability, and those in the bottom quartile have 30% less than average profitability. So there's this direct tie. It's not just being nice to people, but it actually has pay dirt in terms of the impact on the financial success of the organization, and with that, financial success and the ability to pay people better, to have better benefits, that type of thing. So it's a full circle. And I think part of why I share this type of information is that you have to bring this. The language of business is money, and so you gotta anchor the topic in the financial results. That in doing this, if it's just talking about we've got to have treat people better, be nicer, it becomes kind of a human resources, blue smoke and mirrors kind of feel good thing. It's hard to get traction in my experience. It's hard for upper management to take the topic as seriously than if you can start with the financial justification for why we need to do a better job at this. So how do you best increase employee engagement? I've got, again, this is a research-based top strategies that 5 key strategies to increase employee engagement just come from research in recent times, and specifically, these are the 5. I've vision, recognition. We're going to especially focus on that. Communication, involvement, which is combining the elements in the description of the webinar. I mentioned initiative and autonomy. Kind of combine that into the element of involvement and development. So again, this isn't rocket science. These are pretty straightforward elements. They tend to be elusive for a lot of organizations, and I think as we can talk more about them in specific terms with specific successful strategies companies have used to get a better hold on these elements, if you do these things, you will guaranteed have a stronger engagement culture and more employees that are highly engaged and doing their best for your organization. So this take a look, dive right in there. The first one is creating a clear and compelling direction for your organization. Every company has a mission and a vision. Some of them it's kind of left on the boardroom wall or in the annual report and isn't made alive. You've got to make it be relevant to every employee of the organization to truly drive the mission. So this is maybe the largest, perhaps the most challenging aspect of this, but all performance starts with clear goals and expectations. Unless you make that and personalize it for every person in the organization, they're not going to be able to act in a way that's consistent with the best interests of the organization in their individual job. Just as one example of this, from one of my clients, I've worked with Zappos. They have their mission, although they've been widely successful financially, their mission isn't just to make more money or to grow market share. Their mission is to live and deliver wow. And what they would say is their secret sauce in getting there is their people and how they treat their people. So if you treat your people in a consistent way that recognizes their achievement, they give people autonomy. Yet they have high accountability on goals, on individual work that they're doing. That the organization becomes more competitive. And in just an 8-year period, they went from $0 in revenue to over $1 billion. A few years ago, they were purchased by Amazon. They're still independent or treated independently from them, and have since doubled in size again. Again, through the magic of how people are treated, and they feel very strongly if they treat people right, respectfully, if they catch them doing things right, if they give them a challenge and hold them to that in a positive way, that they will achieve and exceed their individual goals, but beyond that, in aggregate, the company will likewise blossom. And so it has happened. So the second key strategy, which actually of all these, I feel is the most important in driving employee engagement, is recognition based on high performance. So offhand, the first point on that topic is that it doesn't say recognition based on showing up, which is what you'd think that it must be the point, because that's what most companies tend to do. They tend to recognize individuals just for when they happen to be there on the day we had the party, or for to get their years of service award, and this is again a kind of fatal flaw on this topic. There's so many organizations that come at it in a very vague and general way that it ends up not being a driver of performance. It ends up being something that's just kind of in the background that we do for people, and it doesn't really matter that much. It makes them feel a little bit better, but doesn't really drive performance. This is unfortunate because it ends up watering down and obscures the power of what is actually the most proven principle known to management, which is focusing recognition on high performance when it occurs as that's defined in your organization. So again, according to the Harvard Business Review, recognition given for high performance is the most impactful driver of employee engagement. Or from the Aberdeen Group, they've found through their extensive studies that the #1 best-in-class strategy for improving employee engagement is having a philosophy, a strategy, and a system for effective employee recognition. Not a random, if you happen to be there type thing, but a more of a corporate-wide philosophy, a strategy, ideally starting from the top, a system where we will catch people doing things right, and we'll do it in specific alignment with our strategic objectives, with our core values, with the things that will make us more competitive on a daily basis. So doing that, again, will take you into being a more engaged organization and having each member of your team, of your organization, feel a greater part of the mission of the organization. So I want to dig a little deeper in this topic. It's one close to my heart. I did my doctoral dissertation on the topic of employee recognition and simply stated why some managers do it and why most managers don't. I did a 3-year study trying to answer that question. I looked at 47 national organizations and found that for those companies that do recognize their employees, what's really happening is that for the individual managers, they have personally grasped and hold closely, have internalized, if you will, the concept and power of the topic, but they feel it's their responsibility to recognize their employees when they do good work and try to do that on a daily basis. For those managers, for those companies where managers don't do it, there's a long list of reasons why they don't, and starting with they don't know how, no one does it for them, they don't really feel it's that important, they don't have time for it, and who does have time to do the things that we don't feel that are that important to begin with, et cetera, et cetera. So there's a lot of excuses why you can dismiss this concept and say it's silly or frivolous or it's something HR should focus on, but I'm not going to focus on it. But there's just one very important reason why you've got to have every manager take it very seriously, and that is it works. It makes a difference, and it will make a difference with each individual relationship. It will make a difference in the team as a manager. It will make a difference as an organization if you have a critical mass of your managers take it seriously. So simply stated, recognition is acknowledging and appreciating people for their achievements. Again, not just being nice, not just having them want to like you, not just thanking them when they happen to be there on Friday or at the end of the month, but to specifically, strategically appreciate them for the achievements that they have done in their job, the things they've worked hard to achieve and were successful. Now, as I indicated, it's considered the most proven principle of management. It is a simple concept: you get what you reward. That now, although most employees want recognition, 99.4% from my research of employees expect to be recognized when they do good work. And the one thing that's different about this from just a decade or so ago is that it used to be, employees would say, well, it'd be nice if my manager would say something every now and then. But increasingly, this word expect has entered the equation where it's not just nice, it's expected. And as I mentioned with the younger generation, currently the largest generation in the workplace, by 2025, they'll make up 75% of the workforce. They have the expectation that if they do a good job, if they take on a project and they're successful, they expect someone to notice, to say something, expect their manager to say something, to thank them. And even if you thanked them last week, to thank them for the project they did this week. And again, this kind of can drive a baby boomer nuts. Is it they have to be coddling these young kids? They have such a frail ego. It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with that they're smart enough, they're resourceful enough to know that in fast times, in fast-moving times, that of all the things that are going on that you pinpointed when they did something that you want more of, and that serves a practical side of things, a practical feedback that helps them to do that again. So it's not because they're spoiled or the trophy generation, as much as they're smart enough and resourceful enough to know that to expect to have communication and feedback and validation when they've done what you want, so they know to do that again. So it's more of a practical thing. In fast-moving times, we all need that. This generation, the younger generation, is essentially demanding it. That if you don't do that, they're going to move on to find another place, another manager to work for. So again, most all employees universally want and expect to be recognized for today's employees, and actually most managers, 80% say that they think they're pretty good at this. They read the 1 Minute Manager, they know it's important to be positive, but somewhere in the mix there, the connection isn't being made. Only 12% of employees feel recognized in important ways for the job they're doing right now. So 99% want it, 80% say managers say they're doing it. Only 12% is getting through to the employees of saying, yes, thank you. I feel validated for that effort. And in fact, 3 times as many, and again, this gets to kind of the crux of the problem, 34% say that they are not recognized in meaningful ways. The stuff that happens in our environment, the parties and the ping pong table and whatever it might be, and employee of the month, it doesn't speak to me. It doesn't make me feel validated. It's not. I'm not called out individually. It's generic. It's happening to other people, and maybe I'm included in that, but I don't feel like recognition has to make people feel special. And if you're just here and we're having a celebration, it may not make that person feel special, especially if they see another employee there who barely shows up for work and they get the same rewards or the same party, or they get the same in the same picture. They barely made it to the team meetings. They get the same praise. Now it becomes a disconnect, and the person says, I don't feel meaningfully acknowledged. And this is the clutter in this topic that we have to fetter out and get companies to be more focused on doing this simple topic, doing it exceptionally well, and not doing what they've done for 30 years or 40 years or what they did where they worked before and think that will magically happen, but being skilled at doing this topic strategically in a specific way that gets the intended results. So when you get serious about performance, you have to get serious about recognition. It goes hand in hand. Most companies are serious about performance, but the recognition is a different thing. They say these things are important, and they recognize something else, something different. So how about if we say these strategic objectives are critical to our success and competitive advantage in the years to come, and then we recognize people for when they do those things, instead of those things are important, but what we're going to recognize are years of service. What we're going to recognize are employee of the month, holiday parties, summer picnics, birthdays, retirement parties. This is about as old school as you can get on this topic. And what gets me upset is that this clutters the question, because companies will do these type of things, and they'll feel that they're all over it. I was working with the hospital in Missouri recently, and I start off and I asked them what they do about recognition, and they say, "Oh, we're it seems like that's all we do." And they mention all these things: years of service and holiday parties, and in the summer we have summer hours and picnic and end of the year Christmas party, blah blah blah. I go, you know what? You guys are doing a lot. I didn't hear recognition on that list. You guys aren't even in the game. Things have moved on since the 1940s. These elements might have been important back then, but now to have a holiday party and expect that's going to get everyone doing their best job on tomorrow when they come to work, it's not going to happen. And you've got to. And what's worse is because you're doing this stuff, you feel you're spending money on it. You feel you're all over it, and you're not even in the game. You're not being strategic and not being specific. And so you've got to move off of this generic focus of recognition and doing random things and kind of for everybody, whoever happens to be in the company that day, and instead make it more strategic, more specific, more wrapped around specific objectives and core values that you need to be competitive. So what I'm all about is helping companies to make that shift, to move from to realign their recognition focus, because most companies are doing something around recognition, and to get them to look at that and say, are you doing the things that are going to get you the results you want, or are you just going through the motions and doing 10% more of what you did last year? Why don't you ask you to even be doing that at all? Why don't you make sure that what you're doing is what your employees most want? Go back to that hospital example I was giving. They said, it's so bad here, we can't get people to come to the recognition meetings. I go, well, and as I asked them a few more questions, I found out what the recognition meetings were held after work. And this is a hospital. I go, you guys short of nurses, right? You have you have people doing double shifts, and yeah, I go, well, God, sometimes recognition is letting people go home to their family after a hard day's work, and not having them, stand around with a bunch of blurry-eyed colleagues to get a piece of paper of a appreciation form. You're misaligned in what you're trying to do. You got to find out what's really important to your people and give them that when they performed well. So stop going through the motions of this topic and start aligning it around the performance that will make a competitive difference to your organization. What I mean by this is move from just having recognition be presence-based, again, years of service or celebrations, birthday parties, that type of stuff, to more performance-based, strategic objectives, quarterly objectives, department objectives, core values. Move from having it be random and disjointed, when a manager happens to feel like it, and what HR happens to do, to consolidated and consistent. This should represent the core fiber of your organization. To have a system, to have it move it from an administrative burden where it falls on one or two people in HR who've got to figure out, who's on their 5th year anniversary to get them something and drop off a clock on their desk, to using the power of technology and a systematic way of capturing recognition that occurs online and posting that publicly and being able to track that, so at the end of the year you know how much was done and who did it and who didn't do it, and you can do some coaching around. So to have a system, an online platform that helps you to measure and track recognition in a systematic way so that you can better evaluate it. Is it driving the things that we most want to have driven, and tweak it accordingly to move to get better each year instead of go through the same thing and just look at it as a budget thing, spending 10% more, and say, are we spending it on the right things, on the things that employees most value and want, and are we doing that in a contingent basis based on what they did that has made us more successful? Finally, to move from a one size fits all and one size does not fit all. You've got to provide choice, and individual motivation needs vary drastically today. And so as you expand that and give them more choice in what they decide that they want, from experiences to merchandise to ability to support a charity, to developmental opportunities. There's a broad band of things that are most rewarding to employees, and find out what it is for your employees and make sure that's what you're giving them when they've excelled and done what you most need them to do for the company to be more successful financially and in our mission and core mission this year than last year. That systematically we're doing the things that they most value. This is what it's all about, really. I could just put up this one slide and talked about that for our time together, because this is the the transition point that companies need to make to move from doing this generically to more specific, more focused, more results based. If you take on that challenge and become a stronger culture of recognition, here's what research indicates you have in store for you. Your employees will feel 5 times more likely to feel valued. They'll be 6 times more likely to strongly endorse their company as a great place to work, one where friends and acquaintances they want to recommend as a place to work, to shop, to do business with, just a great company. 7 times more likely to stay with the company for their career, by the way, for their career. 7 times more likely to stay with the company. This is, again, in and of itself, reason to take this more seriously. And this is why so many corporations are being more strategic on this topic, because the war for talent is on. And as the economy has gotten better, it's easier for people to move to different jobs. There's more hiring going on, and if their manager, their company isn't noticing, valuing, rewarding them in ways to excite them, someone else will. And so, and that's a big number if you have high turnover. I'm working with one company right now that has their cost of turnover is $1 billion a year. $1 billion a year. If they could just hold on to their people 10%, 20% more per year, and this topic could do that, it would be a huge savings for them, and all the efforts that's involved in the recruiting and hiring and training people for getting them up to speed over 3 or 6 months before they even can be productive. Holding on to the people you've got and the ones that you've trained, the ones that are doing a great job, should be paramount to companies today in the increasing war for talent. And 11 times more likely to feel completely committed to their jobs. And this is according to Merit's motivation. And what does it mean to be committed? Well, according to Towers Watson, their engagement research, committed employees deliver 57% more effort than uncommitted employees. Gallup has found that to be 55% plus, that people they're more committed. They go above and beyond, and they do it on a regular basis without being asked, because they're engaged, because they truly are excited about the job, the chance they have to do on a daily basis what they're doing. So why isn't money important? Why isn't money enough? Rather, it's this question I get a lot. Again, I know a lot of companies, they pay people well, maybe above industry average. Well, I turn to my former professor, Dr. Drucker, who put it this way. He said, economic incentives are becoming rights rather than rewards. Merit raises are always introduced as rewards for exceptional performance. In no time at all, however, they become a right, they become an expectation. Actually, in a lot of companies, they become an entitlement. Most people feel that once they hear what the going rate for raises are this year, they immediately think, whatever it might be today, maybe it's 3%. I expect to get at least 3%. Maybe more for me, and as a result, as a tool for driving performance, it is not enough. First of all, you don't have enough money to pay everyone what they expect, and so you've got to expand the toolbox to do other things that I'm talking about here, the wide spectrum of recognition. Compensation benefits review, less than 3% of base salary separates average from outstanding performance. What does that mean? I mean, you take any job category in your organization, you look at a high performer, compare them to someone that's barely getting by, and then look at their base pay, and there's on average going to be very little difference. What is it about that high performer? How can we get more people acting in that way? It's not the base pay that's going to make it happen. It's the other things in your toolbox that's going to call out and thank them for the job they're doing. As Roosevelt Moss Kanter at Harvard put it, compensation is a right, it's an expectation. Recognition is a gift. Part of why this topic works, and there is a magical quality to it, is that you don't have to do it. You don't have to do it. And employees know you don't have to do that. So if their manager does break set and actually act in a way that calls them out in a personal way in front of the team, or thanks them from their heart, specifically, individually for a job well done, then wow, you know you got a special manager. You think twice about leaving that person. All behavior is a function of this simple idea of the consequences. So you can either have a positive consequence, a simple thank you, or a negative consequence, and we all know what that looks like, or no consequence at all, which is the number one thing that most employers report receiving where they work is they don't get any direction or feedback. And if they hear anything at all, it tends to be, you know, like a lightning rod when they happen to make a mistake, the manager jumps all over them, get a negative consequence. The most powerful consequence that's going to drive future behavior is a positive consequence. And research indicates 4 times more powerful, according to Gallup, in their recent research, 6 times more powerful. Dr. Stephen Covey used to talk about 7 times more powerful. In fast-moving technical days that we're in today, when most of us spend most of our working lives on a computer screen, the human touch is critical of being called out in a specific, focused way and driving that type of behavior. So what does this look like in the times we're in now, challenging times? You got to have nominal rewards. I want to give you just, you know, my 1501 Ways has 28 categories of recognition. Let me just give you 5 categories here, starting at a low level, a low cost level, say $25, $10, and going lower. So nominal rewards and benefits could be, you know, a Starbucks card, $5, $10, and having those, you know, again, it's not the end all, but having something on the moment to give someone to. You can get a gift card for any type of store or restaurant, and have it be relevant to your location, and again, have use ones that your employees most desire. So have them involved in what you happen to select. This is the type of thing that online rewards does so well. In terms of starting with a blank slate, what are you trying to achieve, and what is it your employees most want, and then providing options. Whether it's in this realm of gift cards or going beyond that to doing experiences and other things that they highly value. You can, as an example, I love Anheuser-Busch Gardens in Tampa Bay. They give all their managers medallions. So a symbol of coin and they tell them, all their supervisors, when you see an employee, even someone that's doesn't work for you, or someone you haven't met yet, you see them doing one of our core values, which for them is safety and service and teamwork, then give them one of these tokens. That's the program right there. And whoever gets a token, they get an extra $10 in their next paycheck. And so here's someone jumps in to help carry boxes. That's teamwork. Thanks for your help. Here's a kid that's making lemonade on a hot day with the people in a long line. That would be miserable, except for he's having fun with it. He's getting them laughing. Service with a smile. You've got a gift. This is for you, and it captures the moment in the moment. Catches them doing something right. Now they tell me at Busch Gardens that they use these, but no one turns them in. No one turns them in to get more pay in their paycheck. You know, again, money comes and goes. You get $10, you can cover your lunch or something, but you know, that token actually captures a moment in time. It captures an interaction with someone above you in the organization. There's more going on. It has a multiplier force, value to it as you show it to others, or go home and show it to your kids. Look what Dad got at work. You know, it's a simple concept, but it has a magical impact and make it happen. So things can be symbolic. I love the story at Hewlett Packard when I worked with them. Now, senior software manager burst in his manager's office one day and said, "You won't believe it, I found that software bug. Been working on it for weeks." His manager, literally knowing the importance of the timely recognition, groped around on his desk, hands the senior software engineer a banana from his lunch with the words, "Great job, I knew you could do it." Now, I'm not sure how you'd feel if your boss gave you a banana one day. That seems kind of silly, doesn't it? But it wasn't silly to this software engineer. He showed everyone the banana the boss gave him and why. It took on a life, a story of its own today in that division, Hewlett Packard, Sunnyvale, California. 17 years later, the most prestigious award for technical achievement in that division is the Golden Banana Award. Not the same banana, of course. They've created a plaque around it, and in fact, you find something that works, and then you work with it to help give it life and legs. They create a little lapel pin of the banana that if you join the club and recall that, you got that to put on your name badge. And at a glance, you could tell who was a member of the club, of the high performers club. Drives a lot of focus and attention. What happens to be their most highly paid technical experts, technical staff. Now you could say, well, that shouldn't work. That's silly, but it does work. You got to find out what would work for you. And maybe it's I get these stories every time I speak. People come and tell me this woman said, my boss took a spark plug. He painted it with gold spray paint. He put it on a piece of yarn, and in front of the staff, he gave it to me. He said, "Betty, you had a spark around here that makes all our days go a little bit easier." Now, again, silly, frivolous, next to no cost. It wasn't frivolous to that woman. She said, "I've had it in my jewelry box for 18 years." And you're speaking at a different level, an internal level. You're speaking at what are people doing with their time, with their lives, with their careers, and that's very significant. At Office of Personal Management, they have the Wing Spread Award that they give on a clear criteria. Whenever you do something publicly, by the way, it's got to be a clear, objective criteria. You don't want it to look like favoritism. And what I like about this award is a woman got it, and she took it to her boss the next day. Said, "I appreciate the Wing Spread Award. I've worked hard for what it signifies. But if it's okay with you, I'd like to pass this on to someone that's helped me be successful." And boss said, "It's your trophy. You can do whatever you want." So she did, and thereby started what's called a pass around award. You could do a pass around award. What you could focus that on is whatever is going to make you more successful in your department, in your team, in your organization. Is it customer service? Is it cost saving ideas? Let it loose. Start to call out. Take time to call the things that are making a difference. Or at Armark, they name days after employees. Xerox does this as well. What would it cost you to name a day after employee? Next Tuesday is going to be Bob Jones Day, and here's why we're doing it. And on that day, have some fun. In fact, they never do the same thing twice. You do the same thing over and over. You actually end up with what we call something that's boring. You got to shake it up. So one day they had the department manager personally pick the person up from their home, escort them to work. They had the name spelled out in balloons at the front entrance, and they had the department lined up in the lobby to give them a standing ovation, set up lunch with the president. Someone else you might do something completely different for. They might be more introverted. They don't want to flashy things, so you call their spouse and see what hobbies they have, and you chip in for something like that. So again, tailoring to them. A simple celebration, and of course food always works to do that in a meaningful way. Here's a picture of a manager that is washing the car of an employee that won a competition in their department. Here is a shot from Dow Chemical. They do ice cream sundaes to highlight milestones in their goals. You can bring in donuts, but here's the thing. You can bring in donuts. Say you brought in donuts this Friday. That'd be a nice thing. And next Friday, it's a beautiful day out. You brought in donuts again. What's going to happen the third Friday? Yeah, where's the donuts? So for now, it's not good enough. You have donuts. Can we get some with the sprinklies on them, or bear claws, or fruit fillings? And if you go that route and you just do it to be nice because it's Friday, then you're going to get more people just demanding it for really no additional performance just because it's Friday. You got to take it away from the expectation and have it be around performance, personal best of the department or of an individual in it. And then don't automatically use food or donuts if people are trying to diet. And you got to do things that are relevant to them, valuable to them. Time off is often overlooked as a valid reward. Very simple to do. To use time itself as a way to give. This company allows people that have performed in some way this week to leave early on Fridays, or there's a company out of LA that beginning of the year gave every employee 2 free don't want to get out of bed days, extra bonus days, basically, extra vacation days. Now, they did it with an intent. They said, no, people are working hard. We've had cutbacks. We haven't hired back. We know that you're stressed. Someday this year, we know that you're not going to come to work. And that's okay. That's okay, because you know best when you need a break. Take a call in well. Don't call in sick. Call in well. And go to your kids' play at their school, or go to the beach, whatever. But they gave them an award to give them essentially more time from in their choosing when they need it. And probably the most powerful is simple thanks and praise. Now, in my research, I looked at 52 specific behaviors that employees wanted, and I categorized those, factored them into 13 variables. 4 of those, the most important out of the top 10, were right here: types of praise: personal, electronic, written, or public. And initially, my reaction was, well, isn't praise, isn't this all the same? What I've came to realize is that even ways to praise are mutually exclusive. They're different. So you've got to be firing on each cylinder in what you're doing for your people. So if you're good at thanking them personally, use some notes. If you're good at that, make sure you're doing some things publicly or at the beginning of the staff meeting, or saving time at the end of the staff meeting. I just worked with NASA, which is, by the way, the best place considered the best place to work in government. One of the things that they do is at the end of a meeting of their managers, they go around the room and ask everyone to share something they've done to recognize someone on their team since it last been together. Very powerful, and people learn from each other. They take notes on each other's ideas. You got to do that type of thing to make it part of your learning culture of getting better at. So, many people know how to flatter. Few people know how to give praise. It's a simple, very simple thought, but you need to do it strategically. You need to do it. Every manager doing it well, and so as soon, as sincere, specific, personal, positive, and proactive as possible are the elements I find that are most essential. So it's not just being nice, like that outfit you're wearing. It's being strategic, capturing the moment in the moment as soon as possible, speaking from the heart, giving specifics, being proactive in doing that. Saying, I saw what you did, I appreciate it. Here's why it's important, giving a larger context for the words that are shared. Here's how it makes me feel. If you really want to leave a mark at the level of emotions. So any type of feedback, any praise provides practical feedback as to what someone needs to do better, or again, but also should provide an emotional charge to help them. You can do that directly to someone in front of others. You can praise them when they're not around, knowing that word will get back to them. And with that, I'm looking at the clock here. I see we're out of time, and I dug in deep on recognition because it is the most critical factor in overall driving employee engagement. So instead of hitting everything lightly, I want to spend my time where you can get the biggest bang for your focus and efforts. And with that, Zachary, why don't they call it that? I will give everyone the rest of my slides. So if you're on the call today, or I will you'll get, in addition to my latest book or another book of your choosing, I will give you the slides that I didn't get to here in our brief time together. But again, if there's just one variable that can most determine a culture of engagement, it's a clear, specific, strategic focus on the topic of recognition. So with that, Zachary, can we open it up to maybe get a question or two here before we break?
Yeah, great. Thanks, Dr. Bob. And I know, just having been friends with you for many, many years, that you've got so much great things to tell us, and an hour is just never enough. But you gave us some great insights today. This presentation question came up, will be made available, so you will get access to not only the presentation, but the recording. So you'll have access to that. For those that are using this for HRCI recertification credits, The recertification number is 320755, 320755. And, you know, recognition, I've been in HR for over 20 years, and it was important then. It's one of the, you know, older strategies when you talk to an HR team, and that's something that is still important today. I had the opportunity to go to the Girl Scouts of USA, and along this component and just doing something different, they've instituted and adopted stay interviews, and are talking to employees, you know, before they may leave, just to find out how are things going. And last I heard, that was going very well for them. So I know this is top of mind for many organizations, and really glad to see that it continues to be important. We'll do one quick question, and then if you have additional questions, you can reach out to myself at the email that was provided earlier in the presentation, or Dr. Bob directly. But you know, so it has been around for so long, Bob, and your advice is pretty straightforward, and you give some specific examples. But why do you think this topic continues to be one that people ask you for help on, and why is it so difficult for managers and organizations?
You know, that is you know, when I started this journey 22 years ago, I thought, well, this, you know, for a couple of years I'll do this, and then, you know, people will get it. But what I found is that change is very difficult. Personal change, behavioral change is very difficult. My friend and colleague Marshall Goldsmith constantly tells me that, you know, we think it's easy to change behavior. It's very hard to change behavior. It takes a focus and a discipline, and it takes a support in doing that. And so I fear that so many companies are almost dismissive of this topic. It sounds like common sense, or, you know, I'm not, you know, I expect managers to do that. That should be good enough. And yet somehow you send out the email about that, and it still doesn't happen. That if that's the case, you gotta up the ante and take it a little to the next level of saying, hey, you know, we're serious about this topic. And let me tell you why we're serious about it. This is the future of our company, our ability to attract and retain employees. And so it's not going to be optional if you're a leader for our organization. You need to do this. You need to be leading, and that's going to first and foremost mean you've got to be an expert at catching people doing things right, and being explicit in how you thank them in a way they can learn and grow from. So it's taking that, making that change. If you combine that with the clutter that's in the system on all the stuff we've done in the past that really isn't getting us anything, it's getting focused to realign and prioritize our expectations, giving people the tools and the training necessary to make that change happen in a very doable way. I don't know.
Absolutely.
Add to that anyway. Michael's worked with hundreds of companies in setting up systems to make this happen. I don't know if you had anything you wanted to add to that, Michael.
Sorry, thanks, Bob. Well, I'm concerned. Do we have time to go through these?
Yeah, go ahead and you give us that answer quickly, and then we'll end from there and take follow-up questions online from people. Thank you.
Sure. So thanks, appreciate the question. You know, I think there's two things we've seen. One is the quality of execution in these programs are fundamental, and that is, you know, you have to meet the market, in this case our employees, where they are. It's 2017, and Facebook, 80% of people in the US use Facebook and are active around social media. And so people's versions of recognition from the old days of years of service and have a spot award, and then there's something there in the nicest way, they're all stodgy. They don't meet what millennials are interested in, let alone the fact that a large percentage of the older population users happen to be active Facebook members. They're used to this world of technology and speed and fast. It's not just the employees looking for the recognition. So how people do that, you know, people's ideas of recognition need to modernize. And the second part that we've sort of seen consistently out there is too many programs, too many mixed messages. Everybody's informally putting their little programs together, doing the best that they can with the resources that they have. But, you know, you come into a company and there's a program for safety, and there's a program for recognition, there's a program for wellness, there's a program for years of service, there's a program for a spot award, there's a program that somebody just invented at this plant, there's somebody else is doing something over there. Well, that's not helping, right? It's a confusing world. You've got to streamline, standardize these programs and have one program with elements and dimensions and leverage technology on the way. So that's what we've seen, you know, out there, and that's where people are really yielding the significant returns, you know, in terms of the cost of these programs relative to the financial and performance impacts. You know, this is what current employees are looking for, because that's what they're used to experiencing on their personal life. They expect their company and employers is also sort of pretty up to date on these things. So, you know, that's what we're seeing out there.
Absolutely great. Thank you. Thank you, Michael. Well, on behalf of the HRO Today Services and Technology Association, thank you, Dr. Bob Nelson, for the insights and best practices today. Thank you to Online Rewards and their CEO, Michael Levy, for providing books for those attendees that joined us live today, and look forward to continuing the recognition discussion. We are launching our Baker's Dozen list of the top recognition providers within the next 30 days, so watch for that. And combined with that, we'll have some great additional information, best practices, case studies, and stories on recognition. Since the topic will be top of mind for many of our members and customers of HRO Today. So thank you all. Have a great rest of your day and make it a good one. Cheers.